Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
The Rise Up Morning Show.
Alex, I was just about to tell you before we went big live. You know what I've struggled with lately when I take calls at my desk? Is I reach over when somebody makes a really good point and almost hit the spot on my soundboard where the ding should be. I gave you a loon instead of a ding. See, I can't even do this too early. I do it all the time when I'm on a call and somebody says something profound.
You should just incorporate it into your everyday life.
I mean, sometimes I even think it. I have like Pavlovian trained myself to expect when somebody does something awesome to just be like, yep, ding.
Mm-hmm.
What have I done? You know?
Next step is gwumping people.
Yeah, I'm just going to start gwumping people in real life. Maybe those can be our next shirts. Ding, gwump. I don't know. Maybe it could be like the Drake meme, you know? Where he's got like the, whoa, no.
Yeah, there's something there. There's something there for sure. I'd have to think about it.
If you are new to the channel, say hi, introduce yourself. If you're just seeing our faces for the first time, or maybe you've never been live with us before, this is a great place for you to ask a question, share what you know, and learn about the technology that makes cryptocurrency, blockchain, AI, the future internet possible, where you will not just participate as a passive creator, but where you will truly own the information that matters to you. And I'm not just talking about rich people, technical people. I'm talking about everybody. And if you're listening in the future on the podcast, first of all, hello. I hope your candles are green. But please don't hesitate to know you're included in that too. Leave your questions in the comments, and we'll do our very best to answer them. Alex, that's kind of where I wanted to start today, was the ownership of information. Did I tell you, well, and everybody listening, I don't know if you saw, but I got the chance yesterday to participate in a panel conversation with Reed Reisner, who's one of the guys who wants to buy TikTok. Now, I actually had not heard of Mr. Reisner or his bid until yesterday, but it turns out he's a businessman who is a fourth or fifth generation Wyomingite who recently ran for Senate in that state. And he has raised, with the help of private equity, I believe he said it was 5 partners, over $50 billion. The official published figure is $47.5 billion was his offer. But he has raised over $50 billion to buy TikTok and bring TikTok to the United States of America. His whole thing is he wants to, obviously they're at the mercy of ByteDance. Whatever ByteDance is willing to sell is what they'll get. But they'll take it to a Wyoming-based data center or data centers. They'll hire a bunch of Americans. They'll be in accordance with what Donald Trump has asked for TikTok's data standards and transparency. And we will get to keep using the app. And he answered a bunch of questions about it yesterday. And people had all the questions you might expect. Will we still be able to interact with people from other countries? What will you do if ByteDance doesn't give us the algorithm? How will you pay creators? And I was concerned mostly about the data privacy part, like the ownership of it. And I just thought it was so interesting, dude. His response was kind of like, hey, man. The way it came off was like, hey, man, if you're concerned about the data privacy and the ownership of it and you don't like what we're going to do, why don't you buy it? It was like someone comes into your house and, you know, like tries your food and then they, I don't know. You know, he's a businessman. He's got his own idea and he's obviously been very successful. But it just kind of irked me, you know? And they want to do this pay to play thing.
You want to know where I'm lost already, like knowing nothing except looking at the first 10 lines on his Twitter page?
I do.
Go back to his Twitter. Yeah.
Rugging you, rugging me. Here we go. We're looking at his Twitter, which is Reisner, 4 WY. Go ahead. What's losing you?
I'm just already tired because the very first line on his pinned tweet is, worried TikTok will be banned or bought out by a corporate fat cat. And then what it should say next is, let me, a corporate fat cat, pitch you on me buying it.
Dude.
This dude's a billionaire. Like, this isn't a people's bid. He's one more billionaire and a slew of other billionaires who have all proposed buying TikTok. And ByteDance has said a million times the algorithm's not for sale. So I really don't know what we're doing here.
That's exactly right. And the other interesting thing is, check this out. The page he encourages everybody to look at is Founders Talk, which starts off with this kind of like hypey video that I'm not going to, play the whole thing. We're different, etc. We're saving TikTok. We need your help. I wanted to point everybody to, on the website, it says, make TikTok American in red letters that are reminiscent of another slogan. Help bring TikTok to America by pledging your support to become a founding member. You can become a founding father for $12,000 a year. You'll get a content boost, early access to new features. You'll get a blue verification badge like this.
I already hate this.
Yeah.
Run me over with a truck.
So, and then you get a slightly smaller boost and a white badge, or no real boost and a red badge, or just keep using TikTok with all the features you love for free at the Pioneer level. And he said, we're going to do it just like X. And man, you can imagine how fast the comments flew. Do you think people were in favor of it?
No.
Not at all, man. But do you think he was interested? No, he seemed more interested in explaining why this was good for you and why it would be good for businesses. And he mentioned that, for example, people whose content got discovered, whether it was organic or paid, because you could still get discovered with paid content if your content is good, they would earn 10 to 20% of every dollar that TikTok made advertising on their videos. Isn't that just wonderful?
Dude, okay, first of all, this isn't happening. So, I guess don't worry about it.
That's right. This is totally hypothetical, everybody. Totally hypothetical.
Second of all, run me over repeatedly with a car. Third of all, isn't it funny how people who this aggressively preach freedom are the ones most interested in telling you how you feel?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was interesting. And
I love being preached to by some freedom-loving corporate fat cat who opens his pitch video with, "We're different." Run me over again.
Tori put car emojis in the comments, so I think she's on the
Tori.
way. Don't worry. Don't worry at all.
I'd like to move on before I throw up.
Let's do it. Let's get out of here. I do want to say thank you to Tiffany to our friend Tiffany Cianci for creating the opportunity for people here in the comments and here behind the camera to talk to Mr. Reisner.
I do have to say,
I think that's
a shout out
killer.
to Tiffany for sure for fostering yet another conversation like this, because regardless of who's on the platform, she's kind of killing it.
Yeah,
and she's been like on the ground at so many things. Like I feel like something big happens at the Capitol, and like, oh, there's Tiffany live streaming from in front of the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
So
she's going to post it on her YouTube channel, whose handle I do not know right now, but I believe you'll be able to find it by searching TikTok Town Hall. And I'll keep you posted on that. I'll let you know for sure. It's an interesting conversation worth reading, especially if the bid advances. Mm-hmm. Worth reading. You know what I mean? Go read it on YouTube. That sounds like a 80-year-old. No shade to my 80-year-old friends.
Anyway, I have a thing that I
saved it for myself.
Found. Yeah. So this was another one of those moments where like I found myself in the comment sections being that guy saying blockchain fixes this. And so let me get us back on track here. Wash the taste of corporate fat cat from our mouths. Have you guys seen the video or series of videos circulating wherein some old couple appears to be advertising for their failing animal shelter and is selling slippers to help raise money for it?
No. First of all, slippers? Like for your feet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Has anyone... Let me know in the chat if you guys have seen this thing, because it's all over the place. There are tons of these videos, and they start off with this old woman who is crying and saying like, please share this. And then it goes into like, some B-roll type footage of this old guy appearing to be making slippers or something with this sewing machine and whatnot. And then some B-roll footage of this cat shelter that appears there, that is supposed to be failing. Moo. There's a couple different names for these different slippers, like Moo slippers, something. There's a cat one. They're all like, you look at so anyway, the very first time I saw it, I thought something was a little odd about it, but I didn't clock anything specific. And I watched the video. I was maybe halfway through, and I was like, okay, animal shelter. I'll go check it out, see where they're located, all that kind of stuff. And go over to the profile. 0 links. No links to anything. No links to anything, and there's no mention of the name of the shelter or any of that kind of stuff. Can't find anything on Google. I give up pretty quickly and move on. I see 1 or 2 more of these videos popping through, and on the third one, I realized it's a different old guy, and I was like, okay. So now I'm like trying to figure out what the hell's going on here, and then just like pure serendipity, one of the next videos I scroll to on my feed is this young woman who clearly works somewhere in the tech field, just talking about this and how the whole thing is AI. And I went back, and now knowing, looking at it, so I did not clock it as AI at first. It's a perfect blend and the best deepfake I've ever seen. So it's the woman who is like crying in the beginning and saying, please share this, is a real human being who makes a lot of videos. And that was the beginning of one of her videos on a completely different topic. And they took it and deepfaked her and blended the 2 videos together. And it's the most effective deepfake I've ever seen. And the old guy, I realized going back that you never see his face. You only see like side profile kind of ish backdrop, like B-roll of this guy making these slippers. And then the slippers on closer examination are also AI generated. Like all the B-roll footage of the slippers and stuff is AI. All of the like manufacturing, whatever, is all done like just random clips. And you go back and you start looking at it, and you're like, okay, clearly these are different shops. Clearly these are like different videos of animal shelters. Clearly these are not all from the same place or whatever. And on this young woman's video who was talking about it being AI and describing how she could tell and what the scam was and all this kind of stuff, the old woman whose video was stolen was one of the top comments. Like, that was my video. You can go to my page.
Wow.
And you can see that it's me, and you can go look at her, and she has shitloads of videos, and you can find the one that they ripped off the first like 6 seconds of, and then AI stitched it into a deep fake of her. Yes, these. So the woman with the yellow glasses, real human being, makes a number of videos. Those on the second row there, the animal shelter one, like one of those, those are the first. That's the first one that was like taken and then deep faked into the rest of it, and the whole thing is a fake like scam. It's insane. It's absolutely crazy. And the whole time I was just thinking, like, here we are in still the first half of 2025. The rate at which AI video generation, I don't know, Evan, if you've seen any of the stuff coming out of Sora and some of the other AI video generation platforms and stuff lately, but like the quality, like the amount that this has advanced since the famous Will Smith spaghetti video is unbelievable. And it's at an exponential rate. So by the end of this year, I think that there's going to be like, I would think in our industry, what this is going to be is very convincing deepfakes of me and you and other crypto creators, just making full-on videos from like separately branded accounts, like being able to have a deep fake of that person saying, this is my alternate account, and it being really convincing. And so I think this is just like another play into this idea that this is why a token could fix this. And it would require not just the existence of a token though. So this is one of those things. It would require a lot of work on behalf of the platform to like recognize those and to flag them as tokenized. Here's the verification link. It's not just a thing where like we can all mint an NFT to mark ourselves and then like post the contract address somewhere. Like it would have to be content creator like signs onto the platform tokenizes you as the creator. You have to probably KYC and go through like an identification verification process of some sort, and then platform flag you and recognize and then link out to the Explorer page.
So that's a great solution, but I also want to highlight how tricky it is, because this is one of the things Reisner was talking about last night. He was saying we're going to do essentially KYC. We're going to verify everyone's identity. We're going to have, he said, American speaking customer service that you can call.
The fuck up.
I swear to God, that's what this man said, that you can call, and they will be able to help you. If somebody is using your content without your permission, if somebody is impersonating you without your permission, we promise we will crack down on that. This verification process we're going to have will help. But here's the point, Alex, is great. We've got verification, but what if I'm Shloms? What if I am an anonymous person whose whole brand is about privacy, secrecy, etc., and I don't want to have to trust you, Mr. Reisner, or anybody else whose incentives are not the same as mine. I don't want to have to trust somebody who might retire, get killed and replaced, change the terms and conditions on me. And this thing, like you say, tokens can fix this, but only if on the back end, the system that's helping us protect them is not one we have to trust.
Well,
we need those smart contracts too, and we need them fast.
As we've discussed too, this is one of those obnoxious things that's going to be very difficult. Like, it's not as easy as even I just made it sound with that process of like what would be required to just, that would be bare minimum.
Yeah.
But then you would still be fighting the fact that once this stuff exists and is established, it's much harder to like go back and tokenize something that's been like out into the world. So artists, right? You know, classic example, right? Let's stick with the JPEG thing. If an artist creates a picture of anything and they start from scratch, so create the image, the work of art, the video, the picture, the clip, whatever it is, tokenize, release, great, boom, done, easy peasy. World hasn't seen it, they're introduced to it and its token at the same time. If an artist wants to go back and retroactively tokenize a whole bunch of stuff, now it's much harder, because this stuff has existed for so long and it's out there and there's copies of it all over the place, and who knows how, maybe they've already sold 1 million prints of this thing, and now they're adding in a token thing, and now it becomes this whole big thing with the burden of proof is much higher.
Yeah. And anytime it's physical, like, how do you keep the token with that thing, even if you establish it? That's tough.
You know what? I thought about that a lot. The fact that there's really nothing that technically binds the token to the physical item, I think that would just sort of be like an evolution of change kind of a thing. Like if some company that makes shoes, I don't know, Gucci, starts doing this, do they make shoes?
I don't know. They do now.
Okay, well, I don't know. That's a fancy brand, and I'm assuming they make shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen like slides or something with the. Okay, anyway, whatever. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. If Gucci makes shoes and they want to tag every single one with a token, great, boom, that's fantastic. So let's say point of sale at the store, you get the token transferred to you when you buy at point of purchase. You have to like also submit a wallet, or you could say no. You could like refuse it, and I guess they could just burn it or whatever. You would then go off into the world with this pair of shoes that has no token with it, or that you do not own the token that's associated with it, and that could be fine. Maybe you don't care at all. You're just going to wear them, and you're going to wear them till they wear out, and then you're going to get rid of them, and you're going to get another pair. You know, whatever. But I like to think that we would eventually, and this would take time and, you know, enough people to care and enough widespread use of this, you'd get to the point where you're like, okay, well, I've had these for a year and they're a collector's edition. They discontinued this, whatever. I'd like to sell them. And you go to do that, but you don't have the token and no one takes you seriously. And it's just like, oh, okay, well, they could be fake. You don't have the token. It was free.
Yeah.
Why didn't you take it?
Why not?
Why wouldn't you do that? And it's kind of like we had this conversation back.
Like taking the candy bar wrapper and leaving the candy. Why would you do that?
It's like VeChain. Back in the day of VeChain, we were talking about like, okay, why would you tokenize different stages on a supply chain? And the answer was like, well, right now nobody cares. But let's fast forward 10 years where you're going out to eat and you're about to, make a reservation in some restaurant, or you're going to order this from whatever, and it's beef. And it's advertised to you as being some super high grade of whatever from yada yada farm, or eggs, or salmon, or I don't know, whatever. Vegetables grown in this state, or fruit harvested from this orchard, and whatever. And you would like to be like, okay, can I just see the slip? And it should be a thing that's like easy, like, yep, here you go. Here's the address of whatever. And you would look it up, and there would be fancier and better explorers be like, yep, makes sense. Cool, ordered. And if a restaurant or a supplier like didn't provide that, you would immediately be suspicious. Like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do that? That would take a while, to get to. Most people are not going to care for a very long time, and plenty of people who are very comfortable with using systems as they stand wouldn't care for a very long time. So on and so forth.
Yeah.
Until there was more of a reason to, or as is with all things like this, enough new people, young people come into the scene and do care about it to force the change.
Well, dude, that was the thing that made me a little discouraged yesterday, I have to say, is I will tell you, I had people in the comments who I was talking with who said things like, no, I don't care who owns the data. I don't care who owns the data. I just want it to stay TikTok. And on one hand, pretty much no matter who owns this thing, I'm going to use it. They've already got my data. It's already beyond our reach. Like, we're working on the future. And in the meantime, if somebody wants to find out where I live, they can pretty well do it, But it just made me sad that we're at the point like that. And I'm talking to Nick down here in the comments, and he's making the point about, once we get the tokens, well, then we're going to have to worry about AWS. How are we going to get to the freedom point until we're all free, until we really do have local storage, or we have easily retrievable every time, not owned by a central intermediary storage and data, whatever. And I agree, but it's just, there's always going to be one more thing, and we got to take it one step at a time. And I don't want people to lose sight of that, because that is the most valuable thing to me. Why wouldn't you want to own the information that represents anything valuable to you?
Yeah. I mean, the one problem here is that a lot of us that want something like this as a solution, we're envisioning the implementation of something like blockchain technology to fix problem XYZ. And we're skipping about 88,000 steps that would have to happen before we got to that point. Like, right now, you can't. This is one of the reasons it's so hard to talk about, because a lot of people have, like, you've done the journey. Okay, you've realized that, God, this sucks. I don't own anything. I'm getting farmed for data everywhere I go. This is just getting worse. Now you've got all these crypto companies. The exchanges are doing the exact same thing. I'm like being advertised to as if I'm, entering the world of decentralized finance. But really what I'm doing is I'm just using a different bank called Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, whatever. It's the same shit. Maybe they give you a slightly higher interest rate. It's a baby step, right? It's like, it's a good step. We're moving in the right direction, but it's still not like all the way there. So you've done all that, right? Now you're at the point where you're like, dude, screw this. I'm comfortable with wallets. I'm comfortable with transactions. I'm comfortable with explorers. I can read all this. I can verify, yada, yada, whatever. Give me all of it. Like, this is what I want. You got to remember that there's still the overwhelming majority of people that don't even, not that they don't care, they don't even know that data is this expensive and valuable, that they generate this much of it every single day, and that $billion-dollar companies are farming it from them and selling it to each other without them ever, not only not getting a cut, without you even being aware that it's happening in the first place. There's so much like education that needs to happen before you get to this point. And it's such a talking point to say education, 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 when 99% of the people saying that are making zero effort to actually then do that, because most of those conversations just get like, go straight to the finish line, explain it with some jargon and buzzwords, and then get frustrated when that person's like, don't sell me whatever you're selling. I don't even understand the problem you're talking about, and you didn't even explain it to me. That's why so many of these conversations miss, right? And that's honestly one of the things that frustrates me the most, just like trying to figure out how to do a better and better job. Because as with all things, the person saying the thing, the teacher teaching the lesson, if the student of whoever it is doesn't understand it, it's your fault, not theirs.
Yeah.
You need to explain it differently, or do it better, or put it in terms that are more relatable, or whatever. Like, I've been trying to communicate that to Jordan, who was having some trouble with one kind of math problem. He just couldn't figure out this one thing. And I was like, okay, well, what did your teacher say? And he's like, well, I didn't ask. I'm like, why not? And he's like, well, because we moved on and I didn't get it. And I'm like, well, that's her fault. And if she doesn't even know that you don't get it, then she can't even do anything about it. So, it just we really have to walk these conversations back, because that's kind of why I've been trying so hard lately to talk more about the underlying issue as a thing. And guess what? You don't need to talk about crypto or blockchain at all to communicate the problem.
Alex, can we model it a little bit, and can we walk ourselves there? Because that's something I'm struggling with right now too, is in a conversation like the one I had last night, which is with people who, people probably do, when they understand the data and its significance, they can properly care. But I feel like more people who talk to me and find out I'm interested in crypto want to know about investing or make an assumption that I'm interested in. You know, they make a lot of assumptions, and we aren't on the same like page, not because I'm smarter or something, but just because of the ways we've worked to the conversation. So how do you, in a word, let's say you're in an interview like I was last night, you're interviewing someone else, but the audience is what matters to you also. And they may be the kind of people who maybe they're talking about TikTok and maybe that's the topic. And they say, I don't care who owns TikTok or the data. I just want to experience the platform well. How do you have a conversation in public with a guy like Reed Raisiner, probably a very good foil, to challenge that idea or just broaden everyone's mind to think a little differently? What would you do? What would you have done?
That's kind of the acknowledged skepticism thing. Like, hey, you might not care, but do you get like why someone else cares? It's, you know, like no one's required to care about something, but I think it's insane when someone says they don't care when they don't even know what they don't care about. And I'll say that all the time. Again, another conversation that I was having with Jordan, right? Like we're trying to push him to do band. He doesn't want to. He doesn't know. He's never done it before. He's never played anything before. He doesn't play any whatever, but he's like, I don't want to do it. And it's just like, okay, well, guess what? You don't have to, but like, you don't even know what it is or know why you don't want to. You know, like no one can force you to want to, but I will explain it to you and tell you the benefits of this, that, and this and whatever. And it's the same concept. We all have so many things that we're stressed out about and upset about and frustrated about and that we do care about that other people don't. So you have to find relatability. I guarantee there's something that person cares deeply about that someone else doesn't care about, and that's probably frustrated them before. So I would ask them that, or just, you know, say like, hey, yeah, you know what? Honestly, I didn't care about it for a long time, and then this happened, and now I'm more interested in it, and maybe that's a thing that they've never considered before.
You're good at that, Alex. You're good at acknowledging skepticism and also saying, you know, I used to feel this, the empathy part of it. I completely understand that, and I used to feel this way also.
Yep.
Is really helpful. What changed my mind is whatever.
You know how many people in crypto are like here because they claim to be skeptics, and when they encounter another skeptic in the world, they get really upset about it. The same thing is said about anyone who watches anything on TV or reads any kind of media or cares about anything political. Like, you believe in what you believe in because you were a skeptic about something else, some other message that someone else told you. And then you encounter someone who's skeptical of the thing you're into and you get really pissed off about it. And that to me really to me just communicates small-mindedness. You're not actually open-minded. You are very close-minded. You just happen to believe something that may not be like in line with what the majority of people think. And you think that makes you open-minded, but it doesn't. So you really have to do a little bit of introspection and kind of step back for a second.
I also feel like I struggle a lot I need to have more examples on hand that are clear and easy to communicate that can come out of my mouth in a second. When people express that they don't think it's possible. What I find myself saying is stuff like, we have the technology to make a user-owned internet right now. It's not a pie-in-the-sky dream. It's realistic. And then I can lead it to, if you're interested, let me show you how. The examples aren't like ubiquitous. Or people will say something like, we should turn TikTok into a co-op. And I want to say, do you know, there have been several meaningful attempts to do that. Where they've fallen short is because they don't have the right tools to live that thing. But now we do have those tools. I don't know. I don't have the concise way to tell that part of our story yet. I'd like to have 2 or 3 examples I really liked and felt very good about talking concisely about. What was that one that just came? There's always a big movement every time TikTok is banned, and like 1 or 2 more startups come up that are like, we're going to give TikTok to the users. Blue Octopus or something, wasn't that the one? Crap.
Neptune.
What was it? Neptune. I got to write that down. Like, that's a meaningful attempt. I think there are probably others, even in the last year, but there have been many. And some of them have been really meaningful. Go ahead. Tori, I know you're listening. I know you've got a couple. And we talk about beyond TikTok, there are other forms of this like Warpcast, built on the Farcaster protocol, or Nostr. And I think it's difficult because at some level, our literacy, not just about the tech, but about what is actually possible to do with it, is low. People think they only have some options or that only some options are best. Mr. Reisner last night seemed to think that the capital solution was the best one. Let the people who care the most about it work hardest to make the most money to buy the thing and do what they want with it. That'll be fair.
Yes.
Fair,
Let's
fair,
turn
fair.
it into a hardcore pay to play, which I refuse to see the problem with because I'm a billionaire. Brilliant. Good job, dude.
Unrelated, but speaking of great ideas, I have to shout out Music Man and Solem Spartan, our friends in the comments. This is another reason to come to the live show. If you're not on the live show, you can jump in, and they mostly live on TikTok when they're sharing these comments. I think, Alex, we might need to open a Rise Up Department of Research and Development because Music Man and Solem have some of the best merch, product, or service ideas, like the Dark DeFi Daddy lightsaber, which I would love to see. The Rise Up slippers came to us this morning. Maybe we could do an AI video of Alex just saying, please buy my slippers. At one time, wasn't it you, Alex, who had that great idea for doing our custom ghouls, but on a pair of slippers where like the mouths that are usually throwing up the coffee from our Demented Baby logo could be like the slippers that you stick your feet into? I still think that would be such a great pair of slippers. So that's your shout out to say, if you don't watch the live show, we're live Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's the easiest way to get in front of us during the show to ask us a question. You can watch on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. And of course, Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. for Rise Up After Dark. It's morning somewhere, whether you live in Memphis like me or in West Africa or Australia. It's always a good time to rise up. You can catch the episodes on YouTube, on your favorite podcast platform, and the best place to connect with us is theriseupmorningshow.com. It's where all the official links live. You got this look on your face, man, like you are really thinking about something, and I'm stalling to try and let you finish your thought. Am I wrong?
No, it's a good topic because
Slippers?
yeah, slippers. AI slippers. No, I just think in general the idea of okay, so there's a ton of people on this app in particular that talk about crypto. I don't think I've ever stumbled upon a single one where the conversation was not like minds made up, which is fine. Like, make content about your interests, talk about your interests. There's plenty of people who are like already there that want maybe a slightly different perspective or to get validation or verification of like something that they think. But I mean, I think that's really kind of the impetus of our entire business model. This is the pitch that we give to literally every Web3 related company that we talk to. I mean, that's why they're in my closet. The shirt that we have for Consensus this year, tweeting does not equal onboarding, is just this idea like, we as an industry rely on more people using this stuff, onboarding, becoming interested, being frustrated with the problems that we're trying to fix and all that kind of stuff, but we're making no effort to talk to any of them. It's so backwards.
Yep.
And not only are we not doing it, you don't even know that you're not doing it. And even worse, most of them think they are.
You think you're doing it.
But you have no data to suggest that it's working.
No data, just vibes.
No, yeah. That's literally the business model of pretty much every company in Web3. Oh, we don't have any data. We're just vibing.
Just vibing. Yeah, I'm excited always to roll into a crypto conference wearing a shirt that provokes that discussion. I'm very excited about it. I already have forgotten which shirts I have coming, but I can't wait. We're going to Consensus next week. Can you believe it's here already? Man, life is moving so fast.
Yeah, I know.
Does anybody else have that problem? who found the pause button? Alex, did you know we got a comment just a minute ago from ATV Bob who said, what do you guys think about Warren Buffett stepping down? Is this news to you? Is Warren Buffett retiring at the ripe young age of, is he 95, 94?
Yeah. Well, he already did. There's already a new CEO named, or his successor, I guess, is already known. I don't know if it's been like official, but yeah. I mean, good for him, dude. You're over 90. Stop.
It looks like a topic of fresh reporting, though. Like there are a lot of headlines about it that say, I'm reading one right now that say from Yahoo Finance, Warren Buffett retirement twists and the mysteries that precede it, which is ominous sounding.
I'll confess, this is not a topic of great interest to me. So when I saw it, I just was like, oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense. The dude is 17,000 years old. Go do something else for the 8 minutes you have left. But yeah, I didn't like dig into it. So I don't know if like something's happened. All I saw was like one article maybe 2 or 3 days ago that was just like stepping down, successors, whoever. I was like, great. I feel like I know everything I need to about that situation.
Yeah, kind of same. I think probably it's I don't know, most important for people at his company. Like I can imagine, being nervous. Like he's getting older.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
I thought he was retired already. How do you have 300 billion in cash and still working? For real, I do think that working is probably a strong word for what Buffett does, which is get wheeled out in front of a camera to make a statement every now and then.
I think he has a routine where I'm pretty sure he reads a couple of newspapers each morning. I think he has routines around his meals. I'm pretty sure he's one of those guys who occasionally or regularly has a Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
You know how sometimes you interview old people and they're like, "What's the secret?" "Well, I eat about 7 hot dogs and smoke a pack of cigarettes every day." You know what I mean?
My
don't
grandma
be stressed.
Rosé and that's it.
Yeah,
pink wine.
I love that though.
I mean, I've seen his last press conference or statement or whatever, and I mean, like Mike said over here, he was totally with it. It was a super coherent statement just about the state of things. It was economic, and of course, but yeah, I mean, I hope for his sake that he takes a break, go retire. You're done, Warren. You won. You're allowed to take a break.
Yeah, man. Mr. Buffett, we know you're a big listener of the show. We really appreciate your support.
Yeah.
And we want you to
Thanks
know
for tuning in, Warren. We appreciate it.
We're proud of you. We're very proud of you.
Really
Rise
proud
up.
of you, dude. God damn, you did it.
Sometimes I think about when I see that, though, like somebody who's his age, just chugging along. Or even somebody who's, I don't know. There are so many people in my life who are... What?
So we went to this little award ceremony at this Baptist church yesterday for Jordan. There was like a handful of kids that got recognized for making honor roll every quarter.
Seems like an odd place to host that kind of a ceremony.
Well, Christina's suspicion was that it's a very small church and that they like took it upon themselves to do it to bring more people to their building and try to drum up attendance. And, because they were very open about like, you guys can come back anytime. Like you're more than welcome anytime, like blah, 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 whatever. And there was this woman who, like, you could tell she was old when she walked in, and she was all Sunday best, like, just immaculate, just perfectly put together. And I saw her when she initially walked in, sat down, go through the whole, like, little award ceremony, whatever. And they had some snacks or something at the very end, and she came up to us and just, said, "Thanks for coming. You can come back anytime." And she stood there and she talked for a minute. I didn't hear a word she said. Her voice was very quiet, and I was, like, too far away. And but she was 92 years old, just like walking completely, like just walking around. I hope that I can move the way that you do when I am 92, if I'm fortunate enough to get to that point. And then of course it just sent me down this tailspin of imagining, like, can you imagine what kinds of things a 92-year-old black woman has seen in her life?
Dude, seriously. I think about that all the time.
Can't even fathom. Anybody who's over 90, who's born in the 30s or earlier. Like, my grandmother died not that long ago. She was born in 1918. I thought about that all the time. Like, just casually saw the entire Depression.
Yeah.
Insane.
I think about it, if we should be so fortunate to live that long. First of all, that's what I think about is anytime I see somebody, even who, I have a lot of people in my life who are like 60s, 70s, 80s, and I take it for granted how marvelous it is that, like, right now people can expect to live to be that age and have a pretty high quality of life at all in a time where, like, you and I, if we went back, I don't know, 10,000 years, would be like the elders. People would be like, damn, he's 34. Whoa, he's old. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's seriously crazy to think about. Not that, I mean to get too far away
Married at 12,
from it,
kids by 14, grandkids by 15.
Yeah, right. Life was hard, man.
I mean, I'm exaggerating. Dying of old age in your 20s.
Yeah, exactly. So, we've won. We've already won. And Warren Buffett, you definitely, if nobody's given you just a trophy for your participation, as your millennial friends, let us be the first to say, like, hey, man, you can be anything you want to be. You can do it. Life is an open book. All that stuff, rise up. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like to imagine that in some alternate reality, there is one where Warren Buffett watches the show every morning.
Dude, what if Warren Buffett is like one of our regular commenters just in disguise? I don't know. Some of them are anonymous. It could be the case. He could be Music Man with the idea for the Rise Up slippers. Mr. Buffett, is that you? If you've got a crypto question, you want to understand something about AI beginning to decentralize, your life, then
We got him. It's Velo.
oh no, Amsfar said it's Music Man. Or you just want to confess that you're Warren Buffett, then come hang out with us. And
so far, there's 3
comment.
Warren Buffetts.
I am Warren Buffett.
I'm Warren Buffett.
Yeah. Alex and I talked this week about how, because we have kind of a big week, we're probably going to do some slightly shorter shows. Today we might get out of here a little bit early, tomorrow too, but we've got some great guests coming on the show, including our friend Morgan, aka KoofDev, here on TikTok. He's going to talk a little with us. We have another developer, Stefan, coming from Akave to talk about what they are working on. And our friend Justin, who we met in Prague at Emergence, runs Safari Club, which is a Web3 marketing cohort education-based program to help accelerate the state of Web3 marketing and the individuals who are doing that work to help us rise up, kind of thing. So it'll be a very diverse week of guests. And then on Rise Up After Dark, we've got Emily Herrick, who I don't personally know, from Foolproof. Emily's a friend of yours, right, Alex?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what's going on with that? That sounds like it'll be a fun conversation, too. I was looking around at their website a little bit, and
yeah, it's good.
Excited to talk to her.
She's like probably one of the most perfect After Dark guests.
hell yeah.
When I pitched her on the idea of After Dark, it was like, yeah, we, let her hair down, pour a drink, and talk shit about the industry. She's like, oh, give me that calendar. So she is one of those like super tapped in people. I've known her through Twitter. We were in a couple like underground disenfranchised Web3 workers group chats. How we became friends. No, she's great. That's gonna be a good one. I'm sure she'll talk about Foolproof and stuff, but I think more than anything too, she was excited just to do some panel talk and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
The last thing I was gonna say, and we can move on. There's a couple good questions here about all this, like, our elders and the data and whatnot. That's one of those things too that I think about is like, somebody who the blockchain stuff is interesting, and one of the reasons that I do care about trying so hard to communicate this stuff in a way that more people can understand and relate to is because the people who are at the highest risk of being exploited because of not understanding these different pieces of technology that they are now forced to interact with on a regular basis to do whatever. I mean, anything. I mean, there's like movements to, interact at all with your Medicare, with your Social Security, with any benefits or anything that many people rely on require interfacing with some sort of tech. Those people who are the most at risk of exploitation are the ones that have the hardest time understanding, because it's so foreign. It's such a new, aggressively accelerating problem that you've never had to care about for the overwhelming majority of the time that you were on Earth. I mean, and there is a reason that most old people, or that most victims of online financial frauds and scams are old, because it's generally an easier target, which is disgustingly horrifying.
Yeah, I am going to have to look up that Slippers video.
The one you were looking at when you pulled it up there, that was
Yeah.
it. That was the beginning of it. And there's a lot. There's a bunch. It's not the only one.
It makes you wonder what's going to happen if we do get to live to see 70 or 80 or 90, because the world is only continuing to change at an accelerating pace. And I like to think that we'll be hip to it, but I know we won't. I really, I know we will be reliant on, the kindness of strangers. Alex and I are going to be old guys who hopefully live near each other so we can teeter out of our houses and sit down on the increasingly digital lawn and just yell at the kids with too many dogs.
Yep.
Too tired, too old in our with our little rise up mugs and just talking about how the world used to be when the internet was a simpler thing.
So, in an effort to bring us back home here a little bit, there was a question just about the whole move delist, because
Yes,
Coinbase is delisting it as well. And you gave a great overview of the problem before. Do you want to highlight again what they were found to be doing?
For people who didn't see this, let me start by saying if you want to catch up, the two resources you need are Will, our good friend and co-host, Mr. William Watson, did a summary video of the Binance delisting of this token and gave some of the background. Unchained, the Unchained podcast, unchainedcrypto.com, also had a whole episode last week dedicated to explaining it clearly. But the TLDR is there was a market maker whose name is escaping me, which is essentially a company who acquires some of a token for the purpose of trading that token, making sure it is tradable on exchanges. When you go to list on an exchange, often you give many of your tokens to the exchange partner, sometimes for free. Or you might give them to another company and say, hey, we're going to give you these tokens. Sometimes it's a loan in order to use them to fulfill market orders so people can trade our token. Because when people trade our token, Binance makes money. It makes our price action look good. It makes us look relevant. Everybody wins. You can take a cut, whatever. And they usually have rules for how those people can sell the token in order to protect from pumping and dumping. Because if I just gave Alex a bunch of tokens to go be a market maker without rules in place, what's going to stop him from just taking a fat paycheck, selling those tokens and walking away? Well, that's exactly what happened. This market maker, when the price went up, sold those tokens and walked away. And Binance was like, whoa, that's not cool. I found out, though, after listening to the Unchained episode, that the real weirdness about it is that Movement Labs, the company behind the Move token, did this market making deal with the company. Their name is like Web3 something, and a subsidiary of the company. But the subsidiary of the company has people who also work at Movement, and apparently they have like maybe the same lawyer, and the company was created like the day they signed the agreement. And there's all this internal like, he did it. No, she did it. No, it was him. No, it was me. And it's like, it just is really, really messy. And there are many more allegations coming up that will require a thorough investigation. Movement Labs is apparently doing an investigation, but what we know right now is nobody knows what's going on. Binance has done the right thing and delisted the token. Coinbase has done the right thing and delisted the token. And it'll be a great episode in the TV show of crypto, you know.
You know what I hope comes out of this more than anything? What do you think the odds are that Movement is the only one that did that?
Oh, good God. No. That would be, you have more odds of starting a private key on your Bitcoin wallet and finding lost Bitcoin there. You have higher odds maybe of Alex launching a creator takeover meme coin than that being the only one. Everybody's doing that.
Yeah.
But they're not doing it well, clearly.
I want so many of them to sink.
Oh, dude. Our industry would be a much quieter, less crowded place. Better. Yeah.
I would rather the whole thing be quieter than it be full of that kind of noise.
I agree. Okay, so what's going to happen to the token, Alex? My take is, after a crisis like this, the odds of recovery are so small. It's like a.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
But like you would say, not only is there a chance, there's a really good chance if they don't fuck it up. Like you could recover from here.
You could.
I think you could make a really big show of acknowledging how dumb this was. Because like at the end of the day, what they did was moronic and not like, what's the word I want?
Inept.
Scummy. But it wasn't like evil. So like I think you could come back from it if you handled it well.
Yeah. Maybe. I think you'd have to probably distance yourself from any employees who are found to be involved in this skullduggery.
Yeah. Well, first of all, great word.
Thank you.
I don't know, but like it's not just that some employees were involved. Like this was made at an executive level. The decision to
this is like
participate in
founders,
this was made at an
CEOs,
executive level. So like
totally.
I would say CEO step down. Like knowing what I know, and maybe I'll change my mind when more information comes out. I need to know more about it before I would like confidently say like that's what needs to happen. But like, hey, sorry, buddy, There was a relatively decent sized scandal not that long ago. Solana ecosystem, not Jupiter directly, but oh god, it was what's the this is gonna bother me.
Jido, Radium, Orca.
Was it Orca?
I don't know. What was it?
What happened? It was just, oh my god, I can't. Nope, it's just getting farther. I'll figure it out. It was just an instance again where some shady kind of market manipulation tech. This was around the whole like Libra scandal, like pumping up these kinds of memes and like shady practices with volume or something. And there was a CEO that was just immediately like, I got to get out. It was one of the Bens, and he was just like essentially, claimed that he didn't know exactly what it was.
Mantra?
No. Clearly, he was just like, I'm not aware of any of this stuff. Like I didn't order this. I didn't know about it, but it happened under my watch. I should have been aware. I should have caught it. Clearly, I'm not good at my job. I need to step down. And that was like the first thing. And I'm like, you know what? That's probably the only thing that could save your company right now. So
that's killer.
Good move.
Yeah.
That's true. It's your fault. So anything that happens in any company is the CEO's fault. Is kind of the way that general chain of command works. If I screwed up on the air station, yes, I screwed up. But my immediate supervisor would get in trouble for not keeping a better eye on me. And then ultimately, a guy who probably didn't even know the task was assigned to me was on the hook, because that's just the burden of responsibility. So chief was screwed if I screwed up, even though he didn't even know I was doing the maintenance. It's the same kind of a thing. Gotta own it.
Gotta own it. I have
Meteora.
Meteora, there you go.
Doug,
Ding.
thank you. Ding
Nice
for Doug.
job. Nice job,
Yep.
Doug.
Ooh, Doug.
Doug.
Do we want to steal Doug and get him to do some data? Because otherwise I could pull up a chart and like draw some squiggles on it and make some shit up. But
We can, but you know what? Let's ask him to do it another day, because I'm thinking it's about that time where we should ask for final thoughts in order to honor the
you're
promise we made to ourselves. Alex and I, like I said, we got a busy week. Will's on vacation, hopefully getting beautiful rest so that he shows up at Consensus looking like a dream. I have got to take my literal dog to the veterinarian's office, and then I've got to go to a horse farm. So I have an actual day full of actual dogs and ponies that I'm going to be riding into the sun. So let us know if you've got a final thought, a question, a suggestion, a good joke, a word of wisdom. I want to address this one that is very common and very troubling for people who are wrestling with it, but fortunately there's a helpful answer. What is up with all these small tokens, random tokens I never asked for showing up in my BNB or Solana wallet? The answer, my friend, is this is something called dusting. And it's not necessarily a cause for concern. It doesn't mean your wallet's been compromised. It doesn't mean it's unsafe. It is the blockchain equivalent of going to a concert and exiting the arena only to find your car is covered in flyers. You remember those days? Or to see you got a bunch of postcards in your mailbox from people who are like, "Dear Mr. Man, I would love to buy your house. I will pay cash," kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not a cause for concern, but do not interact with it, because it may be that somebody is trying to pick up on...
That is such a good analogy.
Which one? The mailbox or the concert?
No, the one that you're talking about right now. Just like in general, the idea that someone knows your email address or your home address, and so they deliver a bunch of spammy bullshit to you.
Yeah.
And like it's obnoxious, but like it by itself can't hurt you except with the integration of annoyance.
That's right.
But if you were to call that guy back from the flyer, then you might get, led into a scam. Or that's a great analogy.
Thank you.
I'm gonna remember I'm gonna steal that one and take partial credit.
You should. It's only about the 20th time I've used it, so I'm glad to know you're paying attention. It might have been I didn't say it well before.
Yeah, I don't think I remember walking.
I always use the concert one. Anyway,
the concert one, yeah, but I'm just thinking of like it answering one of those spammy things or clicking the phishing link or whatever.
Yeah, so if you get one, if you see a transaction that check it out on a blockchain explorer, which we talk about on the show, and I'm not going to get too deep into today, but put a feather in that, write that down, blockchain explorer. It's one of the most important skills in crypto that you should learn, that you can learn. That'll help you see where it came from, what's in it. And most wallets that you will use, your Coinbase wallet, your MetaMask wallet, your Phantom wallet, have a feature in the settings that you can Google with the tutorial. that will allow you to turn off small balances or hide tokens you didn't ask for, or just on a one-by-one basis. Because sometimes they can throw off your wallet balance. You remember when Carol called us because she had like $8 trillion in her wallet or something because somebody airdropped her a worthless token?
Which is a good point because those things can be manipulated. I've seen meme coins launched, within the last hour that were just perfectly curated and manipulated to have $30 trillion market caps. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, all it would take is Alex launches a token. He asks me to buy it on a publicly tradable market and then blacklists everyone else, meaning prevents everyone else from buying or selling it. I buy 0.000001 of his token for $10 so that one token is worth like a million trillion. And then it's there on the market forever. It's there on the website forever.
99.999% of the supply. Yeah.
Easy, baby. And then he just airdrops a little bit of it to a bunch of people and they're like, oh man, this is great. I've got $1 billion trillion in my wallet. And you try to go sell
interact with it and I wallet drain you.
Yeah. Or he just tries to get you to buy more because you're like, wow, it's already so valuable. Let me go get some at a discount, and it's worthless. You can't sell it.
Yeah, there's no liquidity.
So many scams.
I'm sitting there waiting to siphon it out. The oh, sorry. I just brain farted so hard. The question came through but some could be legitimate businesses. And to carry on Evan's analogy, 100%. You could get a flyer taped to your door that's a brand new small business just opened up in town that went and stuck a flyer on your door, and it's a great coupon for something awesome. It's a free pizza at a banging new restaurant, and it could be awesome. That's possible. But you probably wouldn't just scan the QR code on that thing and send your credit card information to it in the hopes that someone shows up to your house and delivers a pizza, right? You'd probably want to Google it, try to look up a review, find their website, call them. You do some research. God, it's such a good analogy. Evan, I can't believe you didn't tell me this one before.
Hey, man, I have to. Where's my soundboard for this? This is a gross misrepresentation of the.
No, I love it. It's so simple and it can go in so many directions and it's just perfect.
We love a good analogy here, don't we?
We do. Yeah,
I wish you could put an analogy on a shirt so that somebody could see your shirt and have the understanding of the example. That's got to be something we're working on with Neuralink or brain computer interfaces, or I'm just going to ping you my neural pathway to an aha moment.
That would be so cool. Just to
just to transplant understanding or emotion. Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait till that day comes. I really can't. Thrills, horror movies, those are going to be so much more exciting then.
It's like that movie In Time with Justin Timberlake, where you can do this and transfer the time between two people, but you both have to want to.
Yeah, or what's the one where they're farming people for adrenaline, like they're subjecting people to different kinds of experiences so they can capture those experiences and then transmit them to others. Yeah. That's a good one too.
Because obviously the Black Mirror episode with everyone on the treadmill or the exercise bikes and
oh my God, yeah. And I just read. Have you heard of this book Tender is the Flesh by Augustina Barrows something?
I've read it.
Woo.
Christina read it and then I read it after her.
It's the best book I've read, fiction, in the last 2 or 3 years. No problem. And I don't read as much as someone like Christina who's turning every day, or as much like Kimberly. Kimberly reads a lot of books, but it's there's a lot of fiction out there that's fluffy. This is great prose.
It's top 5
excellent
for me. Yeah, it's for context. It's brutal. Maybe read a synopsis before you get into it. It's about a future wherein some sort of crazy virus has infected infected animals to where
the government says.
Yes, so the government says where meat is inedible, not safe to consume. And the alternative is to create humans and farm them, factory farming instead. There are the people who are farmed and the people who are not.
Oh man, it was an incredible book about the kind of things everyday people would do if power and incentives shifted. It's a great book about incentives. And honestly, again, it's one more thing. A lot of it is.
Go ahead.
It's just one more thing that makes me confront my own cognitive dissonance around. I'm not a vegetarian. Like Alex is a vegan. I'm not. I eat meat, and I feel some type of way about it. And I'm trying to make changes in my life because I'm someone who likes to grow. I'm working on cigarettes. I really would. Me and meat have an interesting relationship, and it's just cognitive dissonance that holds me up at this point. I think
cognitive dissonance holds most people into the way that consuming meat works, because there's such a big difference between going into nature and getting something yourself, a deer or whatever, and processing it and doing all of that and eating. Like, I have zero issue with that kind of a thing. I'm really just anti-factory farming. And this book literally just, with no extra details, with no like unnecessary gore, just describes the process of factory farming cows, but swaps the cow with a person and tells you the story. But it's the exact same process.
Yeah, so I recommend it.
Yeah,
it's a great read. Excellently written. I wish I could perform it. Alex, you got a final thought? One last thing before we head out the door. Any more questions that we missed?
I will. Okay, so yeah, something a little bit more helpful, perhaps. I have been experimenting with some more AI tools, and I've mentioned it a little bit before, but Perplexity, I've found is like really, really good for specific research, and it does a much better job than ChatGPT does in like sourcing the information. And then giving you the sources. It's much easier to fact check because, of course, these things can make mistakes. And I've also found that if Perplexity doesn't know what I'm talking about or doesn't understand my question, my example was the other day I was trying to get it to tell me about some Web3 game and I typed the name wrong. Instead of doing what GPT would do and just being like, here's some shit, Perplexity was like, I got no clue what the fuck you're talking about, dude. Try again. Because the thing I asked it about didn't exist. It was awesome. And I've never encountered an LLM that told me I don't know. And so what I've been doing is specific long-form deep research with Perplexity Pro, and then taking those giant, very thorough explanations and giving them to GPT to like refine and cut down and add in the analogies and do like more of the creative part, but like with an information set. And I'm going to add a new like chapter in, or a new layer of the crypto research assistant, AI research assistant, with a Perplexity model into GPT, and then just I kind of wanted to level that one up anyway. It's time to do a part 2 for it. So, pro tip: if you're not using Perplexity, give it a shot. It's really, really cool.
Having a whole toolkit, and also shout out Zapier. Alex and I are both becoming Zapier maxis. We've known about it for a minute. I remember Michael turning me onto it, our friend Michael, the maestro, whose birthday is tomorrow. By the way, today's Joe's birthday. Shout out to Joe and Michael, Faceless Labs. But Michael was the one who turned me onto it years ago, before they had all the extent of APIs they do. But if you're not using Zapier, wow, the things you can automate, we're so far behind. If you've got an automation or a favorite AI tool, we'd like to hear about it in the comments. And if you've got a crypto question, you didn't have time for it today, come back tomorrow. Check out the episodes that are in our back catalog on YouTube and at your favorite podcasting platform. And of course, jump in the Rise Up Morning Show Discord, discord.gg/riseup, or find the link in the tutorial at theriseupmorningshow.com. It's a global community full of learners at all levels of experience. And we often say that the only thing missing is you, because the best way to learn something new like crypto is with people who've been doing it for a minute, people who aren't going to make you feel stupid for asking a question, and folks that you can get to know, so that when the learning gets tough, you got relationships to keep you motivated. You share what you know, ask a question. We say, rise up. We'd love to see you there. That was a good gulp. It was like, I don't know. I could like hear it perfectly in the mic. And don't forget the Rise Up Morning Show coffee mug. It'll make your coffee taste better, your gulps gulpier, and you, my friend, yes, you, will look even better when they see you drinking coffee from a Rise Up Morning Show mug. It's on the riseupmorningshow.com, but you don't have to buy a darn thing from us to learn, to enjoy the show. And I'm good. Zapier, yes, Zapier, Perplexity, Perplexity. That's not a very hard word, but I'm giving myself a ding for getting all the letters in the right order.
Nailed it.
Okay. We're going. Alex, thanks for a great show. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. We will catch you tomorrow. And until then, my friends, we hope you stay safe. Be well, everybody.